Long feature film. It was really a low budget film. We did this with the help of a lot of friends and well, lacking time and finance to make it as we wanted, but also going all the way through the project and finalize the film and work with young actors and also well, really legal immigrants and people that were not actors but were interested in the project. And this is how we did everything more or less in 2 words.
Hello, my name is Muriel. I am the scriptwriter of the movie, and I have also another life as I work as a psychologist, and I experience working with people on hunger strike in Brussels, in Belgium, and this was one of the starting point of this script and this movie, this extreme experience of being with someone who was ready to die, to obtain paper. It brings me lots of questions. Why? Why are they at this point of their life? What have they to make this choice? And yes, this was the beginning.
Hi, I'm Nandini Nikand. Let's see, it's a short film, obviously. It's been brewing for about, 6-7 years. I think it's finally come to fruition now. I think for me, the impetus behind the film is, I think, immigration and sort of the rights that, that are sort of at issue here are really sort of one of the largest, I think, the humanitarian crisis that we currently face. And the reason I wanted to tell this particular story in this way was really looking at it from a very personal point of view, 3 different stories and different ways, modes of trying to immigrate, and really just sort of maybe look at how universal it is, right? So it's not just limited to a single country, for example. I think in the US we get very focused on sort of the US-Mexico border, for example. But I think it is very much of a global issue. And also just to say that, it's a composite, so there's it's based of course, based on true stories, but one of the men from China in the film, and the central piece of it is actually a real survivor from the Golden Venture that sort of crashed.
Sorry?
The Sean, who tells the story, is the person from China.
Okay, yes.
So he's actually a survivor,
okay.
Yeah, and he still does not have status. Okay, so it's a long, ongoing story.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the discussion and the floor to the audience. Anybody want to ask a question for Juan Bagland or I'm not from Barcelona? They're a bit shy tonight, I think. You have a question?
I'm curious, as you were saying, that you work with people who are on hunger strike, what ends up happening? And does the government capitulate and give them papers? How do people continue on?
It happens in Belgium. I don't know, 5-6 times in the 5 past years, and after 30-40 days, the people on hunger strike only received a 3 months of 6 months visa, and that's quite nothing. So it doesn't really work, but it brings the attention on the media, on the issue, on what they are living, and sometimes it helps some, but individually. But yeah, clearly there are some people after 30-40 days that have permanent injuries and really medical problems.
And we don't hear anything of that here.
We don't hear about it. No. Thank you for bringing it up. Any question anywhere? Yes, over there.
A question about the short movie. All the voices we hear are really refugees?
Yeah, so it's a composite. They're not all, so the first one, for example, is a composite of different stories. They're all based on true stories, and some of them are a combination of true stories. So that the facts are all real, but they're told in first person. So the first one, for example, is I said, it's a composite. It's based on ethnographic research based on a particular book. And so the person reading that voiceover is not actually somebody who, I mean, she is, in fact, an immigrant, but she's not, and went through her own sort of crisis around that. But it's not in the way that that the story is. Each one is very different. And the second one is actually a survivor from the Golden Venture boat, the one that crashed. And the final one is also based on a true story of, there's a title at the end, Jose Matada, which is, and it's also a form of immigration we don't hear about a lot. I think in the US less so, but more to Europe, where a lot of people try to get in the underbelly of planes and crash, and don't realize that you can't survive. They have people who have been cases of people who have survived, but most people don't make it. So it's sort of a mix of fact and fiction, but they're all, in the sense that they're all based on true stories.
I understand, but what I mean is the voices we hear are not...
One of them is.
Only one?
Only one, yes.
The second one.
Yeah.
The second.
Yes.
And I didn't know that story about the boat that happened in New York.
Yes,
in
Rockaway Beach, yeah.
right.
And that's actually NBC footage, thanks to Scott. Norman.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, so it's from an actual real story, and that was sort of footage from back then. Yeah, real news footage. It was a big thing, and a lot of them ended up dying, and a lot of them were arrested. And some got status, some went back. And as Sean says, he can't go back because he has no family. So there's a lot, which is sort of the ways in which we think about people being deported now. It's like we think, well, that's the fix, right? But they have nowhere to go back to.
No.
So.
You have to put a hand like that, see if there's anybody. Okay.
Curious, the second gentleman, the Chinese man, what is his situation now? I mean, you get invested, you want to know a bit more about it.
Right. Yeah, he works at a restaurant in Wisconsin. He asked that I didn't use his last name because he was afraid that his status would be still at risk. And he lives in fear of being deported, and he's married to somebody here, but he still doesn't have status, right? So he's still in sort of in limbo, basically. And it was what, 93, so it's been many years. Yeah.
Jessica?
Hi. I just wanted to say thank you both for making these incredible films.
Thank you.
I was very moved, very moved. I'm an ESL teacher. I work with undocumented immigrants, primarily from Latin America. But I think the point about the immigration issue being about people from all over the world is very important. So I want to really thank you. I feel just so moved right now by watching those films. And I wanted to mention the second film, particularly the way that you showed how someone from outside this community comes in and how he himself changes by coming into this world and meeting this undocumented community and seeing their suffering, like the need for medicine. And it was really beautiful the way that you wrote that and how we can all change by seeing what this community goes through. So I don't have a question. I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. And maybe last one question, because then we're going to raise the temperature and talk about love. Maybe I have one last question. Nobody has. So I will ask one last question to you guys. You're Belgian and I'm French myself, in case people haven't realized. I wanted to know, refugee immigrants issue is really the hot topic in Europe at the moment. Is that something also that one of the reasons you wanted to do that movie that was connected to that issue that we keep talking about and hear about, and we don't know what to do with it? And I know in France, for instance, there were discussion of people maybe should do, you know, a citizen should do something for immigrants and refugees, and maybe offer a home or a bed if they have one. I don't know if you have any thought.
Yeah, it's completely related. Us, we asked us the questions recently. What can we do with all these people, with the reaction of Europe? We want to close the frontier. And yes, we thought going to Calais. We have some friends that went there to help people. And it's strange, 1 week ago we received a phone call from one of the migrants who was back in Senegal by the police, sent back by the police, and he asked us to help him to have a visa to come back in Europe. And yes, it's really difficult what to do concretely.
Yeah. Yes, I know.
Yes, so the film was shot in 2012, and I was living in Spain, and there was already a lot of people dying in the Mediterranean Sea, coming from Africa mainly. It was not yet related with Syria, and yeah, we never thought that this was still going to be so much in the news, so much, 3-4 years after, and more. And it's worse and worse.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll invite, yeah, please, thank you so much.